Hey folks, I'm here at Curly Creek Farm and I'm about to speak with Heather, the owner and operator, about her truly regenerative agriculture setup that she has, including duck egg farming, haskap berries, honey production, and so much more. So follow me along in this episode. It's going to be a wealth of information that you're going to want to watch all the way through. Just check it out. And so that's what we were talking about yesterday, how it's really a regenerative cycle with ducks.
Yeah, exactly. And the great thing about duckling manure is it's what's called a cold manure as opposed to chicken, which is a hot manure. So you don't have to age it. You can take it straight out of the duck pen and put it straight on your plants. You don't have to process it in any way whatsoever. You literally just fork it up, put it in a wheelbarrow, carry it up there, and drop it around your plants, and it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's incredible because like cattle manure, I think it takes about 2 years to age it.
We bed that down. Even chicken manure, you have to process it for a while. I'm not sure exactly how long, but you can't go straight on. It's too hot. It burns your plants.
Yeah. So this would be the ideal manure. Like, how much manure could you actually gather from a herd of, I don't know, 20 ducks? Like, how many?
We usually overwinter somewhere between 25 and 30 ducks.
Okay.
And from that we get enough. We basically use the deep bedding method, so we just keep adding straw on top, straw on top. So by the end, it's like this deep.
Yeah.
And it's an old woodshed that they're in. It's probably maybe 20 feet long by 5 feet wide. So over that area and that depth, we get enough to do a 60-tree orchard.
60-tree orchard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Around each tree, we don't do the whole area.
Right.
And then we also do our vegetable beds. And if we've got potatoes in, we mound those up with it too. So we use it's kind of a mulch too because it's straw.
Right.
So you can put it around the base of the trees, and then when it rains, it just leaches more and more of the goodness into the roots of the trees without overdoing it. We use permaculture here, which basically means we mix our trees.
Okay.
So we've got several different types of fruit trees, and they're all kind of mixed in groups of 3. And the way you do that is so that if you get an apple pest on an apple tree, if it doesn't have an apple tree next to it, it makes it much harder for that pest to jump because your apple pests tend to be apple pests.
Right.
So if you put like a plum tree next to it, that pest has got much further to go to try and find another tree that it can hurt. So that's the root of permaculture. And the third tree in every trio is a nitrogen fixer. So if we use black locust trees and sea buckthorn bushes, the sea buckthorns have the added advantage they do actually fruit. The black locust just basically fix nitrogen in the soil, so that can be used by the other trees around them to save you having to add extra fertilizer.
That's incredible. So it's a real regenerative permaculture environment.
That's what we set out to do. We're still learning, and we're not perfect because obviously nothing ever works out perfectly. So
Right.
You lose trees and you replace them, and sometimes you end up, you realize you replaced an apple tree next to an apple tree, which you didn't mean to do, but life happens. But yeah, that's the route that we follow because we're focused on the bee. So we don't want to add anything to our land that doesn't happen naturally. And the more, it takes longer to set up something like a permaculture orchard than it does to do like a monoculture, because obviously you've got to plant lots of different types of trees. But when you've done it, it basically takes care of itself to a large extent. And
Right.
we use nature to work with us rather than against us. So we'll keep low-lying fruit because that will attract certain creatures, and we'll give like 20% of our produce back to nature. So I don't pick all of our haskap berries either. We leave quite a lot on the bushes so the birds can get them when we're done. We do have to stop the birds getting them before we're done because they don't believe in sharing. They'll take all of them. They'll take every single berry off 300 bushes if we give them a chance. But we're nice and we let them have some at the end that we don't pick. But
Birds need to eat too. So.
birds need to eat too, yeah, but not before us. I do. They're not putting the work in. They don't get the full produce.
So you mentioned it does take a significant amount of time longer than monoculture. How long have you been at this?
We bought the farm 8 years ago. We planted the orchard as we moved in June, so we were too late. So we planted the orchard the next year. So it's been in since 2018. and it's now pretty producing. Some of our bushes, the trees don't do as well as others. The apricots never really did anything. We're still waiting. And the pears are getting in there. And they say you
Nice.
plant pears for your heirs. It takes a long time for a pear tree to actually start fruiting, but they're starting to now.
They started to. So it took 6 years for that pear tree to start producing.
Start really producing, and then we have plums and chums. Chums are kind of like a mix between a hybrid between a plum and a cherry tree. So they look like plums, taste like plums, but they're a bit smaller.
Oh, that's cool. Never heard of those.
They do well. The plum trees do well. Cherry trees not so much.
Okay. That's really cool. I never heard of chums.
Yeah. No, well, neither did we, but we came across them in a catalogue, so I thought we'd give it a try.
That's awesome. Can we take a look at the haskap berries?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's take a stroll.
Okay, do you want to see the ducks first?
Yeah. Sure. They're such interesting creatures.
They are fascinating. And the great thing about them is they're so much more sociable than chickens are. They don't have a pecking order.
Really?
Yeah, they're kind of like, depending on how you're feeling on that day as to who takes charge. So they're like really chill. I mean, there's 2 males in with all there's 14 in there. 2 of them are boys. And they can be a little bit bossy.
Is there? I mean, do the males scrap it out, or do they have?
If you've got too many males and not enough females, generally speaking, as that's a boy in the door there, he'd come to see what you're doing. And there's the other boy now just appeared. You hear the different noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, like noise rather than whack, whack, whack.
Yeah.
That's the boys, that dark brown, one with the dark brown head. So those are the only 2 boys now. We have more. And there was a bit of an issue. We have all boys together and there's no problem. A lot of people have break plots. And that's not an issue. The problem comes when you introduce not enough females to go around. And then they can sometimes get a bit squabbly. But it's rare. And usually 1 night in solitary confinement, and they behave themselves again. They don't like to be on their own. They're very sociable. Like if someone doesn't come in at night, the others will go out and find them.
That's
That one that's
fascinating.
got the funny shaped head. She was a victim of a mink attack at the beginning of the summer. How she survived, I do not know.
Oh, the one that has.
The one that
looks like a
completely bizarre S-shaped head.
Yeah.
The mink basically took the back of her neck out. And we lost 2 in that attack. And I was sure she was going to die, but she showed willing and she just kept going and she does everything. She's completely fine. It just looks weird.
Why did you select this specific breed of duck?
They're very good egg layers. They can't fly. Naturally, they can't fly. So you don't have to clip the wings.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about them flying off.
And these are Muscovy ducks?
No, these are Indian runner ducks.
Engine runner ducks. Yeah. Okay.
Muscovy ducks are the ones with the red on their faces.
Okay, yeah.
Masks.
Yeah.
Not very pretty looking.
No.
And they can fly. But these guys can't. They're engine runners. They're great readers. As you can see from the back that were made in there when they first went in there permanently, that was all grass. They do enjoy proper free ranging.
Yeah, and the only reason they're in here is because
of the coyotes.
Coyotes. How many did the coyotes kill?
I've lost 5 to coyotes this summer.
It's insane.
And it was basically getting to the point where it was coming every day and taking one or trying. It didn't always succeed because sometimes they'd spot it and they'd get themselves in the pond before it got to them. But so we did put them in for about 2 or 3 weeks and then let them back out again in the hope that the coyote would break its habit of coming every day. If it came and didn't get anybody, it would stop. And that worked for about 2 weeks. And then it obviously figured out they were back out again. And I lost another one. And since then, I've just put them in. And obviously they get upset when that happens. So they stop laying.
From the point that you get a baby duck, how long does it take for them to start laying?
Okay, so those guys that we've just been filming on the grass, they were hatched the middle of June. And probably the end of October, middle of November is when I'll start seeing eggs from them.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And how long is their lifespan?
Well, we've still got one or two of our originals in there that we got in 2017.
That's incredible. That's been
Yeah.
so they're 8 years old.
Yeah, not most of them aren't. Most of them have been hatched here, but I think we've still got one or two of the originals.
How long do you expect them to live for?
I don't know. We never lost one from old age. People that keep them in the house, I think they can go to like 10 or 12 years. People that actually keep them as pets. They probably don't lay as well. I mean, that's some part of an issue with our older ones. Probably don't still lay. But we get enough eggs over that look different to suggest that most of the girls that we've got do lay every now and again, but they're not laying every day. I think I've got 4 or 5 of them that lay most days, and then another 3 or 4 that are laying, maybe once or twice a week. And I don't think the injured one's laying at all, but she put so much effort into surviving. I kind of feel she's earned a free pass.
Yeah, definitely.
We only cut like this has been cut down because we actually need it to get around the farm.
Right.
But the other areas, like where the trees are growing, we don't cut anything back there. We only cut where we absolutely have to in terms of grass cutting and weed control. And the weed control is done with a weed whacker, so we don't do a lot of it. Because the bees like it. It's great for the bees and it keeps them on our land rather than them straying over to the more traditional farming where pesticides and stuff will have been sprayed. These are the black locust trees. So we use whips from these to go where we want like nitrogen fixes. So the whole of this stand here is black locust. We get the most gorgeous blossom and it smells amazing. They send off shoots underneath. So this is like a baby one. So you can just dig these up quite easily and then transplant them if you want them somewhere else. You have to be a bit careful because they do spread like crazy.
Okay.
They're like weeds almost. So you want to limit a little bit where you have. So you can see the bees have had their honey taken off them, so they're not best pleased. And the boxes, the buckets on the top, those are feeding buckets. So once we take the honey off, the last lot of honey for the season, we do feed them with a sugar solution to get them through the winter.
So you've got these here.
Bees here, bees over there.
And then you've got a couple hives over there as well.
A few, there's about 5 or 6 or 7 over there actually.
And so in total, we're looking at
It's 12.
12 hives. And you always have honey on deck. You always
We do. We get this year. We're in the process of processing it right now.
Yeah.
And I think we are going to have over 500 kilograms from this year. Our biggest year, we got over 900 kilograms.
Is this like you said that Mark deals with this all by himself?
He deals with the inspections of the hives. I do things like preparing the sugar solution. If he has any inspection tools he needs, I'll prepare that. I help with the processing of the honey. I do the jarring of the honey, the labeling, but the actual physical dealing with the bees as much as possible is him.
So
sometimes it needs 2 people and I'll have to help.
Okay. So 1 to 2 people can handle 12 hives.
Oh yeah, you could handle a lot more than that if you didn't have a full-time job.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
And we found that we've been working with our numbers and we found that kind of the amount that we've got from 12 hives kind of matches the amount that we sell using the method that we sell it at the moment. If we had more hives, we'd get more honey. We'd have to be more proactive about trying to sell it. And we don't really want to do that. We quite like the way things are working out now. We sell pretty much what we produce just out of the shop and a couple of markets that I do a year.
Okay.
We'd have to start trying to find other ways of selling it if we produced a lot more.
Okay.
So it kind of trying to match an equilibrium here of how much honey we produce, that we don't kill ourselves trying to look after the hives.
Right.
And the process, when we actually extract the honey, it's not too much work because in each of those boxes, when they're full of honey, weigh a lot. So if in it's cumulative, the more of them you're having to lift around the place, it starts to weigh you down. So we're trying to keep things running, produce enough that we need without overproducing and without killing ourselves, basically. I think that's part of the permaculture. You got to include yourself too.
Well, these are just too vibrant to not get a shot of. Wow. Are you gonna come pick these too?
Yes, I will, because I was kind of hoping that this tree is very hard to pick. It's particularly spiky. If you look, spike, 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 spike. This one's not anywhere near as spiky, so I've mostly picked that one. That one ripens sooner. So the ones that are left on there aren't pickable anymore. But these, unfortunately, appear to be. So yes, I shall have to pick them.
They're a little tardy, right, from what I remember.
Oh yeah, they're definitely top.
Remind me again what you do with the haskap berries?
We've sold a bunch of them. All the ones I picked so far have gone to restaurants. I think they use them in like sauces with meats.
Okay.
So, like you've got a very savory meat, a very strong, like a gamey meat, like venison or something like that, or bison.
Right.
It's a good complement to it. It takes away the richness of the very savory meat. Did actually go to the CN Tower a couple of years ago, and they had sea buckthorn with their bison.
Wow.
On the menu. I was like, oh.
Okay.
It's not really something that you would put in a dessert, I don't think. I think it would go in, it might go in cocktails.
So it's a compote or a chutney that they would make?
Yeah. If I make a jam with it and honey, just a regular, like you would make jam, instead of putting sugar in, I put honey in. I do that with all of my jams. And it's great with like pork chops or cheese or something like that. It's definitely a savoury accompaniment rather than you wouldn't spread it on your toast in the morning.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't personally. It takes me over an hour to pick a pound of these.
And that's why they're so pricey.
Yeah.
They can be.
Yeah.
That's
There
awesome.
what other people do, and which we could do with the top ones, is just cut it off and then pick it once it's on the ground. That's often the way that people do actually harvest these. They cut the whole things off and freeze them, and then they're easier to take off, and the spikes seem to lose a little bit of their spikiness. But you can only really do that if you've got a lot of bushes,
And
because they don't produce the next year. If you're too vigorous with how you cut them, they won't produce next year.
And you need a decent sized freezer. Then.
So if you only got like 3 trees, you don't get a crop every 3rd year, basically.
Right.
I thought they'd have gone soft, but they actually haven't. They're actually perfect for picking. Sadly.
Yeah, this is that's a lot.
I really don't want to do that.
So these are the haskap berries.
Yeah, this is a weed growing through the middle of the haskap berry, which is not ideal. This is going to be my next job before winter kicks in, is making sure these are weed whacked as low as possible so there isn't too much long grass growing and nothing growing up through the middle of the plants.
And where are the actual berries? I don't see any.
Oh, all picked.
Oh, you already picked them all.
Oh yeah, these were all picked by the first week of July.
Oh.
These are super early.
Okay.
Another reason why I pick these again for the bees, because they're an early fruiter, so they're an early flowerer too. So it produces flowers very early on of high quality for the bees. And
is that something you advertise for the honey, haskap berry honey, or?
no, we don't actually, because we have the acacia bushes that flower about the same time. We have the black locust trees, so that gives us the acacia honey. But also our honeybees, oddly enough, don't actually like the haskaps. We thought they would, but they don't. The other pollinators love them. The bumblebees and the other regular bees, they absolutely love it, and they're the ones that pollinate them. The honeybees aren't really that interested in them. They much prefer the flowering trees. We've got 3 different types. You have to have at least 2 different types to get berries. That's where people go wrong. The plants right next to you are black currants, actually. They're not all haskaps. And they flower at slightly different times. So we've got one variety that flowers in the middle so that it overlaps the other 2 varieties so that they all fruit. And they fruit at different times, which is great because it means I can pick one row and then have a bit of a break before I pick the next variety, and then have a bit of a break before I pick the 3rd variety, rather than having to try and pick everything all at once, because it takes a while. They taste like, people say they're like a mix between a grape and a raspberry on flavour. They look like a blueberry, and the elongated blueberry. They're that colour, they're black, very, very dark purpley black. And they're purple all the way through.
and they have a taste all of their own. Some of them are predominantly sweet with like a tart undertone, and some of them are predominantly tart with a sweet undertone. It depends on the variety and how ripe they are when you pick them. But they're really quite a unique berry. Everyone that tries them loves them. And people that have them like want to take them places and introduce them to everybody, you know.
And it was just you sell the whole berries, right? You don't do jams with them or
I
anything?
do make jam with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I've got time. So yeah, I sell that out the shop, and then the berries we predominantly sell the berries. Yeah.
Okay.
We put them in smoothies. But restaurants take a lot too. We sell a lot to restaurants, and then other people just come throughout the year because we keep them frozen, and they come and buy frozen ones.
This is one of the main income streams for the farm would be the haskap berries?
The honey is the main one.
Okay.
The haskap berries would be second. And the ducks come a very poor third, but they're cutest.
Because I would think haskap berries would be your number one. Since it's such a rare.
Yeah, it's just limited by how many berries that how many bushes I can physically manage. We could sell all of them.
Right.
It's just that I just physically can't do it. And it starts to be less of a benefit when you have to employ people.
Right.
So basically this is the most I can do before they start rotting on the bushes before I get them off.
What are we looking at here? About 300?
There's 300 of them.
300 bushes?
Yeah.
This is about 200 yards or?
300 feet.
300 feet. Okay.
So it's 100 meters near enough. So yeah, 100 yards. Yeah, they're pretty easy to pick. They kind of just fall off into your hand. But still, it gets longer every year because the bushes get bigger. So you get, it used to be quite easy when the bushes were only this big, but now they're this big, it takes a while.
Yeah. How long did it take for them to get this big?
These were planted the same time as the orchard, the same weekend, actually. That was a very busy weekend.
Wow.
So they were planted in 2018, but they were tiny. They were no bigger than this. Literally, just that end.
They were no bigger than that.
They're just this end here.
Oh, okay.
They were just plugs.
They were just plugs.
Plug came in an envelope.
It took 7 years
to get to this size, yeah. And we've been getting a decent harvest of them for the last, really good harvest for the last 3, and I think decent for 4 and possibly even 5. We've been getting significant quantities of berries. It takes me about less than 10 minutes to pick a pound of haskaps.
How did you find out about haskaps? Like, what?
We had them in our other house. Something Mark came across. Again, because we were looking at doing the winery.
Yeah.
They're great for wine. They're like the northern grape. So these are a big thing that goes into this is the main flavour that goes into our mead, is haskap berries.
Okay.
And we make haskap wine too, actual proper wine.
Okay.
Which has a higher proportion of berry rather than honey. So you're actually fermenting the berry with the wine, whereas with the mead, you're flavouring it. You're fermenting the honey and flavouring it with the berry rather than fermenting the berry. So you need a lot less berries to go in a flavoured mead than you do in a wine. And make everything work together in a way that minimises the physical labour that we have to do.
Absolutely inspirational. And like you were saying to me the other day, I mean, like these weeds have a purpose.
Yeah, they're flowers.
Yeah.
They're wildflowers.
Yeah, they're wildflowers.
And the bees love them. I mean, I'm surprised it's not so sunny now, but usually when you usually see loads of bees on the goldenrod, and that's our goldenrod and wildflower honey. That's our fall honey, because this is where the bees are.
So it's like you're saying, not the most Instagrammable
No.
thing, but it's got everything here has an actual purpose in the cycle.
Yeah, everything has a purpose. It would be a vast amount of work to cut down all of these, to mow everything and make it look absolutely beautiful. And it would be counterproductive because then there'd be nothing to feed the bees off.
Right.
So, it doesn't make any sense, does it? But again, sometimes it doesn't look as pretty as it might, but it works.
But it's what's right for the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the apples.
Oh, those look like beautiful apples. Do you know what kind of apples they are?
I think that might be a Winoochi Early based on where it's located.
What was that? Winoochi?
Winoochi Early.
Winoochi Early. Never heard of that kind.
We have Winoochi Earlys, Liberty, Enterprise, Sweet 16, and one other type whose name I can't remember.
They look so red and juicy.
Yeah, they are very red, those. The Enterprises are red too. And then we have more, that one, the pear tree that's not doing so well. That obviously has something on it, which obviously a more commercial orchard would have sprayed that with something, but we don't do that. There obviously has something that we're going to have to figure out what it is and how to naturally do something about. These are pawpaw trees.
Oh, pawpaws. Yeah, my wife was educating me about pawpaws. It kind of went almost extinct, right?
Yeah.
Because it's what is it? It's like a mix of a pineapple and a mango, kind of.
Yeah, that's the more tropical pawpaw, but these are northern pawpaws. It's a similar kind of custardy texture. It's not quite as citrusy in the flavour. It's a duller kind of a flavour.
Yeah.
That one did actually fruit last year for the first time.
Do you like pawpaws? I wasn't too fond of the flavor.
I like the tropical ones. Not crazy about these, but they're okay. And it was interesting. These are English lavender. They are culinary, so you can eat. They're quite good to eat.
Oh, really?
As opposed to the French lavender, which is where you think you get more oil from that you can make your perfume with.
And what do you use these for?
Mostly for the bees, actually, is what we planted it for. They love it.
This is all for the bees?
Well, pretty much.
You don't...
We do harvest it and dry it and then sell it as bundles. I haven't actually harvested any this year because it flowered at the same time as haskap berries. And there's only one in me, so there's only so much I could do. So we just let the bees have as much fun with it as they wanted, and they had a lot of fun with it.
That's wonderful.
So that's where we get our what we designate as our lavender honey. Lavender and wildflower honey is when the bees are predominantly in this zone.
Right.
Sometimes I have actually used it to infuse the haskap jam with. So we've had haskap jam with a lavender infusion. You have to be really careful. If you put too much in, it tastes like soap.
Okay.
And that was popular. I just haven't done it this year. But it was an interesting thing to do.
So we've got a bunch of different kinds of honey here. We've got
Yes, you've got the cinnamon there. That's the creamed honey with cinnamon added.
the cream cinnamon with honey.
And then that's just creamed.
We've got the creamed.
And then that's our lavender and wildflower. So that's the middle summer harvest when the lavender is mostly in bloom.
And
That
then
one's the acacias. That's when the black locust trees are in bloom. We have a lot of them. We have a few of them in the orchard, but we actually have a whole stand of them in our second field. And they bloom beautiful blossom, and the bees just love it. And then that's the fall harvest, the goldenrod next.
oh, what's your opinion on the goldenrod?
It's more kind of light and flowery flavour than some of the others. The others are maybe a little bit more of a richer caramelly kind of a flavour. The goldenrod is generally kind of our lightest one.
Okay.
It's very popular. People really like it, but we have people that like all of them that like will only have that one. If we don't have it, they won't buy.
Right.
And to me, it's honey. There is a different flavour. It depends on how sensitive your sweet tasting taste buds are as to how easily you differentiate it. Some people are like, it's completely different. And then other people are like, oh, it's a little bit different. And other people are like, it's like night and day. It's completely different flavours. And other people can't differentiate. Just depends on how your taste buds work, I guess.
I would assume that the lavender one has a bit of a unique taste to it versus the goldenrod and
Yeah, I mean, I think the lavender and the acacia are closer together than the goldenrod is in flavour. I mean, it's just the nectar they're getting from the lavender. They're not actually infused with lavender. They're just taking the nectar from the lavender flower. Obviously, there's a certain amount of crossover too, because the bees don't always go where you think they're going. That's why we always put and wildflower. It's not straight lavender honey. It's lavender and wildflower because some of them won't have gone to the lavender. They'll have gone to other flowers around. And the same. So there's a little bit of an overlap between what's in one jar and what's in another too. Particularly the ones where you've got the late spring and then the early summer. And then we've also got the beeswax candles. So those are pure beeswax made from the cappings that we take off when we have to get we want to get the honey out of the frames. It's capped over with wax. So we don't break down the actual honeycomb that they put in there, but we do have to take the cappings off, and that's just a waste product. And so we melt it all down and we in a solar melter, and then we use that to make the wax candles. So we try to tailor how much we've got, like the same thing as with the haskap berries. We tailor it to, we have 300 plants because 300 plants is all I can realistically pick without having to bring in outside help. And 15 hives is all we can realistically manage and make sure of the health of the bees that are in those 15 hives without having to bring in outside help.
And how many years have you been at the bees?
The bees came about a week after the ducks. That was another trip out and came back with bees. So 2017. Yeah, the ducks came first, and then about a week later the bees came.
2017 must have been a crazy year.
Yeah, it was a crazy year. Yeah, we moved twice, 3 times in that year actually.
That's insane. Well, thank you for showing me this place.
You're very welcome.
Which one do you think I should get? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's a topic that Heather and I covered that you'd like us to delve into a little bit more deeply, just leave a comment down below and I'll see if we can shoot some videos specifically on those topics. Now, as you can see, it is winter time. We did shoot that video in the fall of 2025, along with a series of other interviews I did with small farmers doing big things in a regenerative fashion. So if that's of interest to you, just leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Take care. Hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, stop it. Along with another series of these great interviews and restart. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video at Curly Creek Farm. We shot that video in the fall of 2025. I'm struggling a little bit too much through this, so let me go through. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something new. All right, let's. Hey guys. Hey guys. In the local area. Okay. Yeah. We shot that video in the winter. We shot that video in the fall of 2020. It's pathetic how many shots that took.